Hi everyone, this has a new crime documentary video. So, like the video. So, don't waste the time. Let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real story with you. On November 14th in Gujarat near Surat, there's a district called Valsa, and within it is a railway station. It was evening on November 14th. A 19-year-old girl, a second-year college student, was returning home after finishing her tuition classes. By coincidence, to get from her tuition center to her home, she had to cross a railway track. After crossing it, she would head toward her house, which was about 200 meters from the railway station. So that was her usual route. She would leave the tuition center, head toward the railway station, cross it, and then walk toward her home. But there was a part of the railway station that was very deserted, where no one usually passed by, and it was eerily silent, surrounded by many trees and large plants. That evening, the girl left her coaching center and started walking toward her home, but she never reached it. At the time, she usually arrived home every day. That day, she didn't make it. She used to come home on time every day. Sometimes she'd be 10 minutes or half an hour, early or late, occasionally arriving before or after her usual time, but never so late that she wouldn't be home for 3 or 4 hours. So her family became very worried because their daughter still hadn't returned. They went to the coaching center and then followed the same route she usually took home, hoping to find her somewhere along the way. As they kept searching further, they reached that deserted area near the railway station, and there they saw a girl lying on the ground. And as soon as they went closer to the girl, they saw that it was their daughter. They were completely shocked to see the condition she was in. From the way she was lying there, it seemed she was already dead. When they looked more closely, they realized someone had assaulted her, because the clothes she had been wearing were gone. The family was deeply distressed, heartbroken, and horrified. They didn't know what to do. They began crying out loudly for help, hoping someone would come. Some people passing by noticed the commotion, saw how distressed they were, and quickly called the police. And then, as soon as the police were called, they quickly arrived at the scene and began their investigation. The first thing they did was check the belongings found near the girl. She had her bag with her, which contained books, but alongside it, the police also found 2 other items, a white sweatshirt and a backpack. When the police asked the girl's family if these things belonged to her, they firmly said no, neither the sweatshirt nor the backpack was hers. The police then opened the backpack and found 3 jerseys, 2 pairs of shorts, and a mobile phone charger inside. Seeing these items and the bag itself, the police concluded that whoever owned it and whoever the killer was likely wasn't from the city, but had come from somewhere outside. That person was probably either going somewhere or coming from somewhere, traveling, and had likely arrived by train. Maybe he had gotten off the train, so the police rushed toward the railway station to check the CCTV footage. But the first setback for the police was discovering that there wasn't a single CCTV camera at the railway station. This left them quite disappointed. Still, from looking at the bag and the clothes, it was clear that he was a traveler who had set out on a journey. With no CCTV at the station, the police sent the body for a post-mortem. The report revealed that before the girl was killed, she had been. Now, the police were searching for the killer without any CCTV from the station, and with only 2 pieces of evidence. It wasn't an easy task, so they decided that even though there were no cameras at the station itself, there might be some in nearby areas or corners. They quickly assigned their team to check every CCTV camera around, even at some distance from the station. The team began scanning footage from the front and back of the station, and when they checked a little farther ahead of the railway station, reviewing the timing carefully, they spotted a man on camera. The police couldn't clearly make out his face to identify who he was, but when they looked at his image, they immediately noticed something he was wearing, same sweatshirt and carrying the exact same backpack that had been found near the girl. This made it much easier for them to recognize that he was the same person, the one who had killed her. When the police examined the CCTV footage very carefully, they also noticed that the man was walking with a slight limp. There seemed to be a problem with his right leg. Seeing all these images, the police realized they now had a very strong lead. They decided, alright, let's find this man, figure out who he is, and bring him to the police station. The police formed 10 teams and instructed them to cover every route and every station in the area to find out where that man had gotten off the train and where he had boarded it. Days were passing, and finally, they learned that the man had been seen again at a station in Mumbai. He was spotted boarding a train headed toward Mumbai Bandra. All these images and photos were reviewed only after the train had already left, and by then it had already reached Mumbai. It was still unclear whether the man actually lived in Mumbai or if he had traveled somewhere else from there. Now, catching that man was becoming a bit difficult. The police were still trying to figure out his exact location, whether he was in Mumbai or back in Gujarat, by tracking all the available CCTV footage. But after a certain point, they couldn't determine which direction he had gone after getting off at the Mumbai railway station. They didn't know if he had stayed there or boarded another train from somewhere else. This uncertainty was troubling the police. They reached Mumbai railway station and checked all the CCTV cameras there, but in the later footage, the man was nowhere to be seen. This left the police worried if he didn't appear in any more CCTV footage. How would they track him down? The police had another approach to gather any possible information about him. From all the CCTV footage showing where he had been spotted, they printed out every image of him they could find. Then they went to every single jail in Gujarat, showing the pictures and asking if he might be someone who had recently been released, or if he was serving time for some crime, or if he was a known criminal. After checking in every jail, the police found nothing. They reviewed all the records, but none of the images matched anyone. At this point, the police were left with nothing but failed attempts, no evidence, no leads, and the days kept passing by. The police then thought that maybe he wasn't from Gujarat at all. Perhaps he had escaped from somewhere else, or was a criminal from another place. So they decided to check the records of jails across different states in the country. They sent the man's picture to various jails in different states, asking them to check if anyone like him had ever been imprisoned there. Even after contacting multiple states, the police kept facing dead ends until finally they had a breakthrough in Rajasthan's Jodhpur jail. There, they found a prisoner whose face matched exactly with the man in the photo. It turned out he had been released earlier that same year and had a case against him for truck theft. When the police got the jail records, they learned that his name was Rahul and that he was from Rohtak, Haryana. The police then went to Rohtak hoping to find him there, but came back empty-handed. They found out that Rahul's mother and brother had already thrown him out of the house because he was a troublemaker. He was involved in hooliganism, theft, and breaking into people's homes with multiple accusations of burglary against him. He had been to jail several times. Because of this, Rahul's neighbors would haunt his family, saying things like, "What kind of upbringing did you give your son? You've raised such a disgraceful boy." Due to this constant shame, Rahul's family disowned him, and after that he never returned home. And now the family had no idea where he was, what he was doing, or what crimes he might be committing. Still, the police kept trying every possible way to find out where Rahul was. They spread a network of informants everywhere, kept watching Mumbai, and monitored the place where he had last been imprisoned. Time kept passing. 10 days had gone by since the girl's body was found on November 14th, and now it was November 24th. So,
The Royal Ozone Super Elastic Waistband au the Naram Padding Davajina Zama Mashum Kushalai Te Davaji Zahum Kushalayam Royal Ozone Diapers the Honeymoon Paka Ozone Numpandi Talab Kawai.
Your email is your first online impression. Make it count. With GoDaddy Email, get a professional address.
Suddenly, while the Gujarat police chief was in his office, the phone rang. On the line was one of his contacts who worked at Bandra railway station, handling deliveries for the station's shops. He was calling because the Valsad police had circulated Rahul's name and photo to every railway station from Gujarat to Mumbai. When the photo had been distributed, it had reached both the station worker and the railway police. That's when the worker got hold of the police chief's number and called him, saying, "Sir, I just saw the same man from the photo you gave. He was walking with a limp, and he boarded a train leaving from Bandra. That was all the information the police needed to catch him." By the time the tip came in, the train had already left Bandra. The police immediately contacted the Railway Protection Force, RPF, and then deployed one of their teams, a team that was already in Vapi. The train was scheduled to pass through Vapi on its way toward Gujarat. The Vapi police were alerted and told that a suspect, the man the police had been searching for so many days, was in one of the train's coaches. They were given the exact coach number and even the seat number, and were told, "You won't have to put in much effort, just grab him quickly and bring him back." The police had finally caught the killer they had been searching for over the past 10 days, the one whose case had led them to review over 5,000 CCTV cameras and visit jails across the country. The Vapi police team arrested Rahul and brought him back to Valsad, where they began interrogating him. They asked if he had committed a murder and assaulted a girl. When the questioning began, Rahul started telling his story, and what the police heard shocked them. They realized they hadn't just caught a rapist and murderer, but a serial criminal who had committed multiple crimes, and all within just 1 month. Rahul began his account starting from the day the girl's body was found, November 14th. He told them that on that day he had arrived in Valsad and worked at a hotel for a few days before quitting. He had come back to collect some money he was owed, and later returned to the station planning to take a train to Mumbai. While waiting for the train, he wandered around the platform. When he reached the very end of the platform, he saw a girl walking back home after finishing her tuition. He noticed that no one else was around. It was already evening. So, as Rahul admitted, he followed her for about 100 meters, waiting for the right moment to assault her. He said that after covering about 100 meters, he found a spot near the railway tracks where there were trees on one side and no people on the other. He saw his chance and kept following the girl. She didn't suspect anything because there were still people passing by earlier. But the moment things became quiet, he grabbed her, covered her mouth with his hand, and threatened her. He then raped her and strangled her to death. After killing her, he molested the body, and during the assault, he had already removed his clothes. His backpack was left behind at the scene, and now the girl's body lay in front of him. He had just killed her moments earlier. After that, he felt thirsty. The station platform was about 100 meters away, and he figured no one would notice the body for a while. Leaving his bag and sweater there, he took only a towel and walked to the platform. He bought a juice packet, drank it, and then returned, intending to look for the girl again. But when he came back, he saw a crowd gathered at the spot. People, including the girl's family, were standing around her as they had reached there while searching for her. When the police were called and arrived at the railway station, Rahul saw that they had learned about the incident. Realizing this, he left his bag and clothes behind and boarded a train to Mumbai, and the items he had left behind became the most crucial evidence against him. If he hadn't left his clothes there that day, the police might never have identified him through the CCTV footage or figured out who the man was that had killed the girl who the killer was. He then told the police that after reaching Mumbai, he took a train to Howrah. There, just 5 days after killing the girl on November 14th, he assaulted and murdered another girl on November 19th. That victim was last seen on a train. After leaving Howrah, he went to Andhra Pradesh, where, at a railway station, he boarded a train and killed a woman inside one of the coaches, robbing her before leaving with all her money. Later, he boarded a train from Pune headed to Kanyakumari, where he assaulted and killed another woman. In this way, he committed 5 murders in different places. The police then asked him why he had committed exactly 5 murders, a major question, and also why 4 of those murders were in train coaches, reserved for differently abled passengers. All 4 of those victims were women with disabilities. When he explained the reason behind this, the police were stunned. He told them he was from Rohtak, Haryana. As he grew up, his father died, and during childhood, he contracted polio, which left his right leg disabled. When he started school, other children mocked him for walking with a limp. Over time, this constant ridicule stayed in his mind. From a young age, he had only one dream to become a truck driver. He had never dreamed of anything else. But because of his disability, no one gave him a job, and no one allowed him near a truck. This rejection and humiliation became deeply rooted in his mind. At that point, he committed his first crime. Since no one would let him drive a truck, even though he desperately wanted to, he began stealing trucks. He stole around 12 trucks from different places in Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and many other locations. Because of these thefts, he was caught several times, sent to jail, and then released on bail, only to return to crime. His trips in and out of jail became frequent. The last time he was imprisoned was in Jodhpur, in a truck theft case. By then, he had been to jail so many times that he had formed close friendships with other inmates, criminals of various kinds. After being released, his mind was constantly filled with the thought that he was disabled, unable to walk properly, mocked by people, abandoned by his own family, and laughed at wherever he went. Once, Rahul boarded a train for disabled passengers. There, he assaulted a woman and forced himself on her. Later, he got off at the next railway station. He was pleased to find that it was such an easy crime no one caught him, and no one even suspected anything. He had a rule. He never committed the same crime twice in the same state. He would move from place to place, committing crimes in this way. By November 14th, the police already knew much of his history. They had the full story, but one thing they still couldn't understand was why a disabled man was targeting and murdering disabled women. Even today, he hasn't given a clear answer, and the police have little hope he ever will. He is now in police custody. The most important and shocking truth is that even on moving trains, women are not safe. 4 murders had already taken place. If he hadn't gone to Gujarat, followed that girl, and killed her, he might still be roaming free, continuing to kill such women. Many more could have fallen victim to this serial killer, especially women who couldn't walk or who were physically unwell in some way. No one would suspect that a man limping along, unable to run or even walk properly, could commit such horrific acts. But the reality is that women are not safe anywhere, not outside their homes, not in trains, buses, cars, hotels, schools, colleges, or hospitals. The biggest blame lies on the mindset of certain men today, especially those who have suffered childhood trauma. If children go through something that deeply affects their minds, they may grow up to commit such acts. Families should seek treatment for their children so they can recover, instead of destroying not only their own lives, but also the lives of others.
So today's stories has very amazing. So like the video and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.